Okay guys, I want to teach you how to write a science thesis, whether it's for a BSc program, MSc or M.Phil or PhD program. Now I'm going to focus on the undergraduates because I just feel those who are doing postgraduate program, maybe they already have the ideas. But if you are doing a postgraduate program and you don't have the idea yet, I would just advise you to watch this video to the end. To write a project work is very simple. Now, sometimes your supervisors, I feel they want to feel like God and they want to feel like they know so much, so they hide this information from you. So you keep going back and forth, you understand? For this video, what I'm going to do, I will make sure that I simplify everything for you. You can write projects as if it's a primary 6 work, okay? So just relax. All your fears are gone today, and it depends on you. You don't have to pay anybody to do your project for you. By the time I'm done teaching you how to write a project work with this video, you are going to write your project work. You don't have to be a good writer. You don't have to be a perfect writer or a good author. Just watch this video and you will write any project work at all on any topic, provided it is science. And this video is not limited to those who are in science. First of all, you must know the order that a science research work takes. What pattern are you supposed to follow when you are writing a science research? Now, it follows this order. You have the abstract, which is a summary of the entire work. You have the introduction, which is an overview of your work. You have literature review, which is a comparison of other people's work that are similar to your work. Then you have the materials and methods or methodology. That part talks about what you did in the lab or in the field, how you carried out the experiment. Then you have the results. The results, after you've applied all the methods and you got a result, that is the result you are talking about. Present them as the result. Then you have discussion. Discussion is you interpreting the results you got from the lab. You have your recommendation and then conclusion and references. That's the structure of a standard science research project. To start writing your project, this is what you need to do first. You get your topic. When you get a topic, you take that topic to your supervisor. Now, take notes. Before you take a topic to your supervisor, do your background checks. Make sure that you have materials on that topic. Don't go and pick an intelligent, a smart-sounding topic that your supervisor will approve. And when he approves it, you won't get materials on them. So before you take a topic to your supervisor, you make sure you do your background check and see that there are materials and literatures on that topic. But sometimes, in some cases, the supervisor gives you the topic. So at that point, you have no choice than to work with whatever he gives to you. Now, when you get your supervisor and your topic is approved, this is what you are going to do next. You're going to make sure, because definitely he will give you the topic, but there's this mistake most students make. They give you a topic, you go and start research. You start researching and getting materials and journals and start writing. No. If you do that, you are wasting your time because you're going to give your supervisor something that is not relevant to the topic. That's the truth. That is why most of you, your supervisor keeps sending you back and forth. He will tell you this thing you have written does not align, doesn't make sense. That is why you as an individual, you must ask your supervisor for the aim and objective of that project work. Now, when he gives you the aim, ask for the objectives. That objectives will determine how you do your research so that you align with the purpose of that project work. So don't ever start a work, don't ever start doing your research until your supervisor gives you aim and objective. Okay, let's say your supervisor has given you the aim and objectives. The next thing you're going to have to do is to start getting materials. Listen, most students make these mistakes. When they approve your objectives and they've given you the topic. You go and download 3 journals and start copying and pasting and editing. That's not how you go about your work. Once your aim and objectives have been approved and your topic approved, this is what you need to do next. Take that objectives that you were given, lay them out. Now, to explain this, I'm going to take a sample topic and use it to explain to you how you actually go about writing your project work. Okay, for our project work now let's start. Me and you, we are about to write a project work. We are going to go to the research together. We're going to search for journals. We are going to write this project together. But don't worry, it's going to be very fast. Let's start. Our topic is microbial colonization and antibiotic resistance profiles of microplastics in urban water bodies. The aim is to investigate the microbial colonization of microplastics found in urban water bodies and assess the antibiotic resistance profile of the isolated bacterial strain. That's the aim of our project. Now let's look at the objectives. We have 5 objectives, of which 2 is this: to determine the total microbial load, that is bacterial counts, on microplastic surfaces. Then objective is to evaluate the antibiotic susceptibility patterns of the isolated bacteria using standard methods. Objective 4, to compare microbial communities on microplastics and in surrounding water samples. Objective 5, to assess the public health implication of antibiotic resistant bacteria associated with microplastics. Now we have our objectives, which are 5 in number. To start our work, we are going to take this objective and break them into sections. Now how do you do that? Turn them into keywords. The mistake most students make is they will carry the topic and dump it on the search engine, hoping to get journals. No, you won't get anything. In fact, if you are lucky, you may get like 2 journals, and you will now cry back to your supervisor, "Sir, I am not getting journals or materials on this topic." You don't have to do that. Now you've gotten your topic, you've seen the aim, now you have the objectives. This is what you are going to do. Take that objectives, turn them into keywords. What it means is you are going to turn those objectives into words that are recognizable by any search engine or that can match topic in database online. So this is what we did. For the first objective number 1, this is what we did. For us to search for journals that align with that objective, we now change it to this. 1. Bacterial species or bacterial strain commonly found on microplastics. That is number 1. So we are going to copy this and paste online. Bacterial strains commonly found on microplastic. You see, it makes sense for a search engine. Unlike saying to determine, that doesn't make sense. You confuse the database. So the engine will now do, he will now look for anything that is related to bacteria found on the microplastic surface. He will look for it, search and bring up anything that is, in fact, anything like that has to do with bacterial strain, bacteria found on surfaces, bacteria found on other organisms. He will bring out research in that area. Then you will now start going through them. So it is very important, because why most of you will have issues is you will start dumping your project topic on search engine, hoping to find materials. No, you have to break it down into objectives, then break that objectives into keywords that you can search online to find journals. So for the first one now, we have entered We have turned it into a keyword or a searchable word, and we are now searching. And this is what we are going to get. We are going to get a journal or some journals. Let me advise you, don't just, for each objectives, you're not going to just get one journal. You are going to get at least 7 journals. Then you will now screen those journals. You will screen those journals. But before I continue, let me show you how I change each of the objectives to keywords or searchable phrase. You understand? Now we've already seen the first one. Bacteria commonly found on microplastics. Then we have the 2. Microbial load in microplastic surfaces. Very easy for the engine to pull out anything that has to do with microbial load that is associated with microplastics. Then the third one, antibiotic susceptibility pattern of bacteria found on microplastic surfaces. Now you see, then we now come up again with this comparison of microorganism communities on microplastics and surrounding water. You see now, what we did here, we turned that statement, that objective, into a searchable statement. Comparison of microbial communities on microplastics and surrounding water. So when you type this into it, it's going to bring journals of work that have been done based on those who try to compare organisms found on microplastics and those that are found in water or aquatic environments. So the 5th one, what we did, we just put public health implication of antibiotic resistant bacteria. What is the public health implication? That's what it simply means. So we took that again, turned it into a searchable phrase or keyword and put it into our search engine. Like I said, when you are searching, don't just type the phrase or the keyword. Don't type it that way. You're going to be directed to mainly web pages. So what you need to do is you make sure that you add PDF, because most journals are published in PDF format. So it will just screen it out and bring mainly PDF to you. Now you have searched for these journals, right? What are you supposed to do with them? Like I said before, the first thing is get, for each of the objectives, get at least 7 to 10 journals. Then once you are done, screen. Now what are you screening for? You are looking for a journal that is up to date, a recently published journal. In fact, sometimes you may have a recently published journal that was written 20 years ago. So check for the date it was written and the day it was published. So look for recent journals. Now we're in 2025, so try your best, try as much as possible to get a work that is between 2025 and 2017. That is good. When you get this journal, you go through them properly. You students make certain mistakes. You get a journal, you don't even check if it's properly cited, if the references are done properly, whether the years, the journal name, the title, everything is complete. You just copy and start pasting. Then when you take it to your supervisor and he rejects it, you come back and start crying. This is what you're going to do. Every journal you download, make sure it is properly cited, the in-text is properly done, and check that every in-text is in the reference, so that you don't copy a work, that after copying the work, you will realize that the work was cited, but it is not in the reference. Listen, every in-text cited, every author you cite must appear in your reference. It must. It's not maybe. It must appear. If your supervisor approves a work where you cite an author that does not appear in the reference, your work is a bad job. It's bad. It is okay that you have a reference that the author that did not appear in the main work. Please check the next video on how to write your introduction and literature review. Thank you for watching.